the record is about fear in a lot of ways, and making the record was about fear. Writing lyrics is always about regret in a weird way. So, you know, and actually the character Mother War, like, it has a lot to do with actually being raised Catholic, my relationship with my mother, I think our relationships with all of our mothers in a weird way. Like, you know, I think we all have very strong mothers in our lives as a band. I think that we were drawn to that kind of subject too. So, yeah, it's more interesting to think about them just simply as really what they are, which is, you know, I mean, Mother War represents a mother who had lost her children in a war, and I see her as, you know, somebody that simply represents loss and, you know, fear. We just wanted some cool physical embodiments of these actual feelings that the patient actually feels, like things that he goes through. So the song Famous Last Words, it almost tells the story in a weird way of the making of the record without being specific. I just know that when we wrote it in the house, it was at a time when it felt like the most honest thing. You know, it felt like what we're going through. So it's very hard to say, oh, well, this line is specifically about this. It's really actually not. It's a strange song to pick apart. But I knew that's what we were all feeling the whole time making the record. So
I think, like, the images that came up in my mind was everything that we went through to record the record. And, like, that we got through it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like when we played it. It really feels like it's a huge celebration, you know? I just can't wait to, like, continue playing that song.
I'm really glad we played it last, too.
Yeah,
I like how that worked out.
It was just
I think that song will always have to be played last in a weird way.
Yeah.
Well,
like, it made itself last.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't even decide to do that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Alright,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. You know, for theatrical purposes, we needed an alter ego, and we also wanted to break the notion of the Black Parade as a new band and like a totally new thing, since we reinvented ourselves. So we weren't going to put My Chemical Romance all over everything when we started to leak little bits of information about the project. We just wanted people to get excited about it as if it were a new band. So, so that's why it's our alter ego. Also because, you know, in theatrical purposes, and we're a theatrical band, we could go into a club and play as the Black Parade, and we don't need any production. We already have these uniforms, these identities, and we could play in these songs. But when you could also then take it to the next level when you do arenas and bring full production and wear these uniforms or different uniforms or something. So it you know, it works on a whole lot of different levels. In a lot of ways, it was a really good way to sum up the band and what we had grown into, which was kind of a celebration of life and death, and that's kind of what the music feels like. So that title really means that to me.
We went to, like, we got a secluded place. We lived there for a couple of months. Wrote in this big live room. You know, nobody really ever left the house because there was no point really. You know, we just were so absorbed in this experience, and it just, I don't know, it started to flow like that. And then when we were done writing, we went into the studio and you know, there was we just wanted to keep it within the family.
Yeah.
You know?
I think also, too, we knew the expectation for the record. We knew what the expectations were, and we really played with that. And in order to play with that, you kind of need total secrecy, you know? And it was important for us that nobody had heard even a peep out of us, because we knew what we were doing, but we didn't want anybody to know what we were doing. And we think, you know, I think we were thinking it would have given away too much too early. You had to get it all at once, in a sense. You had to just have it hit you. No demos could leak, no nothing. You know, the first time you heard it needed to be at its max potential. So I think we knew we had something very special. So when you have something very special, you can wait to go out and wave it around in front of everybody. You can hold on to it. It's timeless, I feel. And if you have something timeless, it could come out this year, next year, 2 years from now. It's not going to matter. So we were quiet. We love that dude so much. We just saw him the other night, and even just seeing him, you get happy. He's a really pure soul. He's a good dude. He does stuff for the right reasons. He has a true love for music. He has no ego, and he's encouraging. And he lets you do whatever you want. You know, you said I want Glockenspiel, he gives you that. You say you want Liza Minnelli, he gives you Liza Minnelli. Whatever you want.
You know, when we went in to start doing videos for this record, met with a few people, and I think we always kind of knew it was going to be Sam. He just,
Yeah.
Especially from that first meeting, he really he got the concept, he got what we were trying to convey, and just visually what we wanted to do. Basically, this was to introduce people into the Black Parade and to kind of give them the story in a nutshell. You meet the main character, the patient. You watch him die, and you watch him, you know, get carried away into this other world. And it was a rough video to make. We only had like a day and a half to do it.
Right.
And it was very physically trying.
Yeah,
you know?
it was.
And everybody that worked on it was just amazing. I think we all, you know, sometimes you walk into a video and you're like, wow, you know, this looks pretty cool, but I'm sure it's gonna look amazing on film. This video, you walked in and you were like, I can't imagine this looking any better than it does, because we were like in a spaceship hangar and there was just rubble everywhere. Like, it looked like you walked into a war zone.
Yeah.
And we were like,
Yeah,
holy shit.
it's beautiful.
It really was.
Oh.
My dad and grandfather always played drums, and they were always in bands, and my grandfather played like Dixieland and big bands and stuff like that. My dad was always like a blues player, he played in rock bands. So every weekend I would either go see his show or my grandfather's show. So I was always at shows, and I always knew I wanted to play music, but I definitely didn't want to play drums because I had no rhythm. So just like the coordination thing was hard. So I went through a ton of different instruments until I landed on guitar, and that's just where it stuck, I think. You know.
Yeah, I mean, me and Mikey, I don't know if we were particularly musical. My grandmother showed me and him a lot of musicals and things like that. She encouraged me to be in a school play. She played a lot of piano, so she was very musical. So we did not perform much on our own, though. So, and I didn't join a band until I was 15. I got kicked out of it because I couldn't play Sweet Home Alabama on guitar, which is a bummer song. I'm not into it. So.
Yeah. Well, I was at I watched the first show because I wasn't actually in the band at that point, so I'm gonna give you a little thing on that. I remember everybody was like really psyched because they were like our good friends, and everyone wanted to see what they had to offer because they had a demo out first and that we had listened to. We were always big fans of, and you know, everyone wanted to see how these songs would work live because the demo wasn't that tight.
Yeah.
But I remember them being really nervous, and Mikey and Gerard like didn't want to get up in front of people, but after they had a couple of drinks, like they were psyched to go.
So how about that first song? How that first song went off, and we played it, then it's just like the whole room, and there was like 30, 40 people there, realistically. Mm-hmm. You know, and the whole room just blew up. Like, they loved it. And right away we were just like, all right, cool, we were right, I guess. Well, we actually learned it's not as bad as everybody says it is.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you know, and the key is we were treated really well before we were anybody, and that was the point with our label. They really treat us like kind of like their kids, and they let us do what we want. We just adjust things accordingly. You know, if we're going to make a big record, we need a lot of stuff. If we're going to make a smaller record, we need not that much stuff, so we don't ask for a lot. You know, we were treated. We've always been treated great. So that was the one thing we learned, is that it's not. At least major labels aren't that bad. Music business, I mean, we don't get to see a lot of the cutthroat aspects because we're not that kind of band. We never showcase for labels. We don't do that kind of thing. We're a band, and we exist in a music business. So, you know, we've managed to avoid a lot of the worst parts of it. I want people to want to live after they hear this record. That's the main thing. I really want people to want to live. I want them to express themselves however they want, to not be ashamed of what they are, to not be afraid of what they are, to really face their fears. I think this record's really about facing fears. I want them to have fun with it, too. It's a really fun record. I want them to just have a lot of fun, so that's me.
I think it's a real incredible feat to actually be comfortable in your own skin sometimes. and especially when you really put your real self out there, you know, and you dig real deep, and there's no mask on anymore. There's no you know, it's hard to do that. That's really hard to do, and you know, it takes time, I think, to be comfortable in doing that, and I think that's a real positive thing for everyone to aspire to do. You know?
Yeah, I think we've gained such a sense of identity that we are so comfortable on stage. I can feel it from every member of the band now when we're playing. We really kind of know who we are now. I think we know what we want out of the live show. I think we know what we want out of the record, what we want it to do. I think we know what we want out of the people that come see us. So it's really amazing for that. When you make a record, you want to become a better band. Each time that should be your goal, is to become a better band. So I know that we have this time. So I know when you see us live, it's different, it's better. I mean, it's definitely better, you know, like, and that also comes from being comfortable in your own skin, a sense of identity. Like, you have more confidence, and you can perform better, you do everything better. I think, you know, for people that are fans of us before, nothing negative has changed about it. There's nothing negative about the changes, you know. It's all really positive stuff, but it's still as exciting and visceral and fun and cathartic as it ever was. So I don't think it's changed terribly too much. Let's see. Well, this is the month the record comes out, so there's a lot of like crazy stuff that happens in that month. You fly a lot of different places. You're in a new city every day. You're doing something crazy. You're on TV. Or, you know, you're performing one song and no other songs for like a week and a half, and it's weird. So we're doing that stuff, but we do have some really great intimate shows coming up for the release of our record. We're gonna do those.
Talk about that.
It's gonna be great. Then we go to Europe. Then we come back to the U.S., do some radio shows. Then go to Japan and Australia. Have some time off, briefly, before starting our full U.S. Arena tour in February. Actually, I imagine the next record will come out much later than this one. I think we're going to take some time after this. I think it'd be good, too.